Well, surrendering to God's timing as a parent can be incredibly challenging, especially when you watch your child make choices that lead them down the wrong path. Well, Harvey and Darlene Johnson are here to share a beautiful message of hope for parents facing these challenges. You know, your story is not, Darlene, an overnight story. This is a long journey that you were on with your son. But take us back to growing up. What was he like as a little boy and growing up? Did you ever think you'd be in these type of circumstances?
Not at all. He was a wonderful child. He was a mama's boy, of course, and he would sit and play for hours. He never cried much. He was, I would say, if you could have a perfect child, he was close to perfect.
And so what happened? When did the turn happen? Did he get in the wrong crowd? What?
It was yes, he did, and it was in his early teens, 14, 15 years old, getting with the wrong crowd. And of course, being mama, you know, I'm always there trying to bail him out.
So was there church, God element a part of your family at that point?
It was.
Yeah. So would he go to church?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And he seemed to adapt well in any situation. He was a follower, and he wanted to be accepted. Once he got in with the wrong crowd, he just got lured in, and it was like there was nothing we could do, nothing we could say. It was a 24/7 heartache.
Right.
That never stopped.
Did you ever talk about it like at church, or did you ever tell anybody? You just keep it inside?
I did not, because back then, that was a long time ago. You don't talk about it. You sweep it under the rug and you deal with it. So there was a lot of shame and guilt, because I didn't want anybody to know.
I think it's still
you're
that
around
way.
other parents and their kids are doing great, and then there's your son.
So is this a common thing that happens with parents, the shame, the guilt?
Absolutely. When you have a prodigal, you can't be proud to talk about them, and you don't want anybody asking you questions about them. So you move from the first pew to the fifth pew to the last pew. And oftentimes you'll leave church because you don't want people to be asking you questions about the worst pain that you've ever experienced.
Yeah, and as a mom, you probably want to protect your kids.
Yeah, you don't want to bring shame to them either.
Cover them.
But yeah, but this is a huge problem, and there's nothing out there for them other than we'll pray for your little Bobby, okay?
Yeah.
And they don't realize that this is trauma. This is hurt. This is grieving 24/7.
Yeah.
You know,
feel helpless as a parent.
And you are helpless. You are helpless as a parent.
So Darlene, you know, was mentioning that, you know, she would help and help. I mean, was she not supposed to let him hit rock bottom?
Now, I'll let her answer that now. What do you think now? Now that you've gone through the materials, would you have done it differently had you had that 20 years ago?
Yes. The first time he got arrested, I would probably let him sit in jail.
Okay.
Maybe the second time, because I think you show grace and mercy a little bit. Everybody makes mistakes. But after about the third, fourth, fifth time, and people trying to tell you constantly,
It's hard to let go.
Yeah.
So hard to let go.
But what if he changes this time?
So do you think parents that are trying to help their kids are actually enabling them and prolonging?
Yeah.
Let's talk to someone who did it for 26 years professionally.
Yes, yes.
All right, so let's just tell everybody what happens. I love this part of the story.
Yeah.
Table Talk's in this story that you're watching right now. Okay, so take us back to that morning you were watching the show.
I had been through a lot of healing classes at church, small groups, and doing great, but it was like there was something missing. I wanted more. God showed me what has happened here. It's just like something was missing. So I got up this morning, and of course I watched Joanie Table Talk every morning, and my mentor called me that morning, and it was right after COVID, and she said, "Darlene, are you watching Joanie?" And I said, "I'm turning it on now." She said, "There's a Dr. Doug Weiss on there that has just written a book. You really need to consider ordering this. I think this will help you." And so immediately I got online. I ordered the book, the workbook, and the DVD. And so took myself through the class, and I was amazed. I mean, it was like Jesus jumped off the pages in this book.
I know the book, of course, the Prodigal Parent Process, Doug, you wrote, and then the DVD's almost 4 hours. And he takes you through each, almost like you're in a counseling session.
Right.
And then you've got the workbook. But what was it about this product, the Prodigal Parent Process, again, for the parents to understand their role in all this? And yes, we want to pray for your children, and we'll do that. And there's a number coming up on the screen you can call and leave their name. We're going to pray for them. But what was it about this that helped you so much? I know there were several parts of it.
Well, it was like you had a counselor there in the room explaining what you had been through, but it was like Jesus was talking to me. In the first chapter, when we learn about God being the first prodigal parent, that really hit me because he didn't chase his children. He didn't run after them. He allowed them free will. I learned the power of free will. That was the first thing. And then, of course, every chapter gets deeper and deeper, and it touches on the marriage, the siblings, and it was the most amazing teaching that I have ever been through.
So what about the trauma aspect? I know he talks about that in this as well.
When I got to that part, and I had been in Christian counseling, and I knew God, that I diagnosed myself because it had never been mentioned to me about the grief, the trauma, much less PTSD. That never entered my mind, but every symptom was me. And I realized what had happened to me, and I mean, it was so emotional, but it was so beautiful too to finally have an answer. And I thought, God, if I'm suffering this and I'm understanding this, how many more of me is there out there that don't know this?
Was there a prayer that you prayed to release or surrender at some moment as you're going through this process?
I think I prayed through the entire book, just asking God to show me, to give me revelation. So I started having revelation after revelation, and it was like the Bible came to life for me, and I've never had that happen because, like you said, Dr. Doug, people say, I'll pray for you, and that's wonderful.
But you need more than that.
But when I go home, I need healing. How do I heal from this?
Harvey, what happened after your wife went through this process? How did she become different, and how did the marriage become different?
Naturally, our marriage got better and better and better as she went through these courses. And she learns, it's just like you do, teaching, you learn from teaching. And she's just done a phenomenal job trying to educate herself and share her problems with other people and griefs.
Well, and she absorbed the truths that she was hearing.
Yes.
I know I do like that when I'm on the table and we've got people. I feel like I just absorb. Then I want to share and help everybody.
I've learned so much.
It touched you so much and impacted you so much. You went to your pastor's wife, and what happened?
I did. They had a prodigal, and I introduced this to her, and she went through the teaching, and she was amazed, and she's been in ministry all of her life, and she said, Darlene, this has revolutionized my thinking. Wow. And I said, me too. I said, I think we need to launch a small group.
And what happened? How many people showed up?
43.
Oh, 43 people?
In a small group.
I want to launch a small group of 43 people.
Really? Well, that just shows you the need of so many people that are struggling.
They kept coming in, and I was like, how many of me is there out there?
And they're just silent.
That's just here in one church.
Well, before you leave, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, we would love to hear how the Lord is moving and touching your heart right now. So be sure to comment below and then share this video with someone you feel needs it just as much as you did.